Conservatives have a new reason to obsess over Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She just proposed increasing the top marginal tax rate to 70%.
This would require them raising taxes.
There's an element where, yeah, people are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes.
Do you have a specific on the tax rate?
By the way, that look of sheer terror on Anderson Cooper's face as AOC says she's coming after the ultra-wealthy is brought to you by him literally being descended from the Vanderbilt family. But I digress. Let's actually dissect what AOC said in this clip, or more importantly, what she didn't say.
But once you get to like the tippy tops, on your 10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
She is not saying that an individual's entire income should be taxed at 70%. She is saying income over 10 million should be taxed at a higher rate than its current 37%. So if you make $10,001 this year, the first $10 million would be taxed like they are now. Nothing changes, which is good for people like me who scrape by on just over $10 million a year. So who does it affect? Imagine you are the world's wealthiest person. So wealthy, in fact, you could solve world hunger if you weren't too busy coming up with new medieval ways to torture your factory workers. Let's call you, I don't know, Beth Bezos. Congrats, Beth Bezos. You are part of the 16,000 Americans, the 0.05% that AOC's tax plan would affect. For the rest of you 99.5% of Americans, carry on. Enjoy your quality, free at the point of service healthcare that we're gonna be able to pay for now. Because that's how marginal tax rates work. That distinction is important, but it's a distinction Republicans are pretending doesn't exist. Steve Scalise, the House Republican whip, attempted to gaslight Americans with a seriously misleading tweet. Grover Norquist, whose lobbying firm Americans for Tax Reform is financed by, you guessed it, billionaires, compared taxing the rich to slavery. And of course, Fox News could barely contain their excitement to have yet another opportunity to badly misrepresent what that crazy Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said this time.
29-year-old now says she wants to radically tax the rich.
Taxed at 90%, why bother?
A fair share is 90% for the government and maybe 10% kept by you. That hardly seems fair to me.
So why are well-known Republicans pretending to not know how marginal tax rates work? I'm sure they wouldn't purposely scare Americans into thinking Democrats are sending them to the gulag. Or worse, a Scandinavian welfare state. Conservatives argue that by taxing the rich, Americans would lose all incentive to strive to become the next Michael Bloomberg, or Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates. Which I just want to go on the record and say I'd be totally cool with. But there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever to back up that claim. There's no correlation between lowering taxes for the rich and an increase in economic growth. There is data, however, that slashing taxes for the ultra-wealthy increases income inequality. Funny how that works. Here's the bottom line. AOC's idea to raise the top tax rate to 70% isn't radical. In fact, it wouldn't even be historic. In the 1950s, you know, that idyllic decade that conservatives get all warm and fuzzy about, but tend to gloss over what it was like for people of color, LGBTQ people, women, people with disabilities, immigrants. Anyway, the top tax rate during that time was 91%, and it was set by a Republican president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. So maybe we should be asking AOC, hey, why don't you want the wealthy to pay their fair share?